Hey guys, welcome to another episode. So today I wanted to talk about running, and now I am in no way, shape or form a runner, so I thought I should probably ask someone who knows what they're doing, and that is the lovely Marina. Marina, welcome to the podcast.
Hello. I'm so buzzing. Like a full episode
gonna-
about running. Yes.
I know, this is like what we've dreamed about.
Yeah, literally. Like,
So,
ask Connor to talk about running. Yeah, you're not going to shut us up. Like,
so would you mind quickly just explaining to everyone who you are, what you do, who you work with, and kind of your background on running?
so yes, as Joy said, my name is Marina. I have just completed my first ultramarathon, which I'm sure we will talk about, like absolutely buzzing. Was not bloody easy, but yeah, I've completed one ultramarathon, two marathons, a lost count of half marathons, 10Ks, 5Ks, but I do it now more so for fun than anything else. I know people will hear that and be like, you did all that for fun. Like, really? Like, I've got issues. I'm like, what are you running away from? I currently am a coach, and I do like work with a lot of ladies who kind of, again, struggle with movement, don't really know like where to get started, how to get started. Running is quite a big outlet within my program. A lot of women talk like joining to me and end up running. I don't push it, they ask, which I know we'll get to in a while. But yeah, I've been running, I want to say since about 2008, but I ran like quite a lot in like 2008, 2010, and then I left Ireland, and then I took up running again in 2019. So I had like 9 years of like quite a gap with like no running. And then obviously COVID hit. So I did kind of like some races in 2019, 2020. And then obviously COVID hit, and it just kind of, they all became virtual. Like there was a website that I use that I've got really amazing medals from that I should have actually looked up before I came on, but I've no idea what it is. I can let you know. But their medals are amazing, and like I find it really good because like we'll say I did the Inca Trail, but you've got like a certain amount of time to complete it. And then they like post you out the medal, and they are incredible. Like the quality is insane. Like they're so good. And it gives you like a little map of where you are, and it's so good.
So wait, you actually did virtual, so you just were kind of given a route and gone, right, okay, you have this time to complete it. How does that work?
Yes, you just go out and chip away at the icebergs. Like, so if it's like 40K, you could do that over the month, but like do 5K here, 3K here, 2K, and it just collates all to like that distance. But you can set yourself a time limit, like so you get to like adjust, like if you want to do it in a week or if you want to do it in a month. But there were some distances that I think I did John O'Groats to the British one.
Couldn't tell you.
One from England to Scotland. It's like that whole. Oh God, it's really bad. I don't know. I don't know John O'Groats. Anyway, and it was really, really long. And I think I took like 2 or 3 months to do that. But like during COVID, it was hands down my saving point. Like, but I did some of them as well as walking ones. So like I'd get like some of the really short, the longer ones I would do walking and running. And it would like add up to it. But yeah, that completely comes away from your question. I don't even know what I was answering. Sorry. But yeah, it's a part of my life. Always has been. But again, I've never been like a huge, the way I ran in 2008, 2009, 2010 is very different to how I run now. I would say because there was no training plans. There was no, like any of the half marathons that I did, like the last half marathon I did in 2010, it was at a lake, and I literally, my mum and dad was there to support me. I ran past them and literally went head first into the lake. I was like, I have never been in so much pain in all my life. I am never doing this again. Why am I doing this? Never again. My mum and dad came like running behind me, be like, Marina, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, it was horrible. But I think as well, because I put so much pressure on myself, I was really good friends with a runner. I didn't categorize myself as a runner. And she was like super athletic, super natural. And she just took running like in her stride, whereas I didn't. And I put a lot of pressure to run at her pace and to be as fit as her and to be able to do the distances she was doing. And why can't I do this, you know? And I do think that killed it for me. I do think that's why I ended up being 9 years not running at all.
I think that's really interesting because over the past, since COVID probably, running has become a bit of a trend, like within fitness. People, you have like more running groups, people are very into running. And I think from an outside point of view, again, someone that wouldn't say they're a runner,
Yeah.
I see people like that and I'm like, I've got friends that run at ridiculously fast paces. And
Yeah.
they're like, come with me. And in my head, I'm going, I don't want to run with you because I know that you're going to be fast and I'm either going to slow you down or I'm going to be struggling to keep up with you.
Yeah.
So what was like the one thing that kind of shifted your mindset from going, right, okay, I hate this 2008, 2009, I'm being not forced into, but I'm going at it and not enjoying it, into now where you somewhat enjoy running, right?
Yeah, no, I do. Like, and it is a challenge. Like, don't get me wrong, I am a gym girly. Like, the gym is my safe space. Running's my challenge. And I do think it's because of that. Like, it's not something that I find natural. I never have. But I would say in 2019, when I started back running, I started back running to lose weight. Like, it was like, right, well, this is the only way. Like, I'm sick of like feeling like this. And I was on steroids, like on and off for injuries, like in the past. And they were like, oh no, just more steroids, more steroids. And I was like, there has to be a way that I can just like look at my relationship with food and do all this. But I wasn't. I was purely just looking at my movement, which 99% of my clients do. So I'm able to relate with that. But I'd signed up to like a few 5Ks. I don't think I did any 10Ks at that stage. It was just 5Ks because I was like, right, well, they're doable. But it was funny because even now I've got memories of screenshots that I took after every race and compared my pacing to like the week before. Now, I'll just give a bit of context to this. This was in Qatar in like May, June, where like it is like 30s, 40s. And obviously
dangerously hot.
As each race goes on, it's getting hotter. And I'm still comparing my pace why I wasn't faster the week before. Like what? Like what is wrong with my crowd? So I think then I would say I moved then to another part of Qatar and I met a runner. He would just get up in the morning and do like 30K. And I was like, what? How are you doing this? So he joined me and he genuinely, again, because of me, I was very like you, Joey. Like if I ran with anyone, it was like pressure because I have to keep up with them, or the shame of they're slowing down to stay with me and oh no, like I'm holding them back mentality. And he really taught me that it's like, it's fun, Marina. Like, I want company, so I'm going to run with you. Like, if you want to walk, we'll walk. If you want to run, we'll run. If you want to just, take a trot, like, we'll take a trot. So, and he literally ran, like, we ran every week together. Every Friday night, we had like a Friday night non-negotiable run. That'll be for people that have followed me, like, literally, like, years ago. And like I used to do like a content on Instagram, like this is even before I was coaching. It was like literally Friday night non-negotiable run. It was like a story and a post every week, the two of us, and we did like a hill running club every week. So the hill running club was very much so like survive, like you run up the 500 meters, you run down, we'll nod heads along the way. But I do think more because I met him and he was like, that's not what running's about, Marina. Like running's about like having the crack and, being able to join. And like there was a 15K route that he used to do and I would cycle alongside him because I was like, oh, I am not running 15K. Like, and then it was the very last, because he left the year that I left and I was really sick the last night that they did it for like literally the years that we've all been there. And I was really sick, so I couldn't take part, but I did it on my own the following week. And he joined me on his bike. So it was like, we were able to like have that. But it's the memories that like, honestly, I think if I'd been in the UK and hadn't met somebody like my friend, I don't know if I'd enjoy running the way I do now. Like even now when I moved back to the UK, I really struggled to find a run club. Now I'm not here to like bitch about like all these run clubs. Like I'm not a fan of run clubs, like massively. I've been to
This is interesting.
Yeah.
For me, because I have found like, so I moved from London to Manchester, and when I was in London, not necessarily, I used to go to run clubs and move clubs and whatnot, but I found, because I lived on the Thames, so my running route would be along the Thames around and back. So as I was doing that, there'd always be people running with you.
Right.
Like that you'd see like the same people because you'd go at the same times, or like someone or like there's always be someone that I'd be like, oh, hi. You'd give a wave to, maybe you'd run with a little bit and you'd go your separate ways. And then coming here, that's the thing I've really struggled with, is having to do it on your own. Like when I run, there's no one, or there'll be people, but they're not running, or I don't know who they are. So it's kind of like, I feel a little bit like I'm plodding along on my own.
Yeah.
Whereas I quite like the mentality of, oh, there's someone I know there. Hello, that kind of distracts me a little bit, and then I keep going.
Yeah, no, totally.
But let's dive into run clubs, what you actually think.
Right. So run clubs to me, look, again, I'm like, I hate saying I'm not a fast runner. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I have friends that run marathons at like 3:30 pace a kilometer, like ridiculous speeds, right? Like, how are you breathing? I don't understand. So like my comfortable pace would be like 6:30, 6:40 a kilometer, right? Where I'm talking and like running. And like, I hate when people are saying like, oh, that's not fast. I know that's sprinting to some people, right? But I also know it's walking to other people. So I think as well, like I kind of had the mentality of you're always going to be faster than some and slower than others. You're always like, it's just statistically just the way that you are. You're always going to be faster or slower. You're never going to be the exact same pace as everyone you want to be. But when I moved to Glasgow, I joined like, I want to say like 4 run clubs. And they were like, yeah, it's a nice social pace. And I was like, great. Can I have the number? And they're like, oh, well, we don't really have numbers. I'm like, you have to know a number of your pace. If you do this run club weekly, you have to be able to give me a number right now. She was like, yeah, so our social pace would like start at least 6 kilometers per hour. And I was like, I'm breathing out my arse for that. I'm sorry. Like, no, I'm not. I'm sorry. I was like, oh, good. And I actually, she's like, oh no, but come, like, it's fine. Like, we're super inclusive. And I was like, I'll go. I don't know anyone in Glasgow. I'm really trying to meet people. I'll go. I've like literally 4 times I went. Not to that one. I went to 4 different clubs. That one I went and it like literally I think I lasted about a kilometer and I just felt so deflated. I was like, I'm just going to hop on the subway, get to town and get the train home. Like that was horrible. And then the other 3, I found nobody spoke to me. Like I rocked up and it was like, just going to stand on the outskirts. Like they all knew each other and there was nobody like welcoming, which is really strange because obviously like I don't know if people know Glasgow and any of your like clients or anyone listening to your podcast like knows Glasgow. It is so friendly and people are so friendly, but I don't know if that's the running world that they just weren't. And I was like, I don't want to do this. And obviously I really missed my friend and I was like, I don't have that community here. Like this is so disheartening. So I moved to Glasgow in the June. I ran the Chester Marathon in the October. So like literally spent like from June to Christmas kind of like trying to find a club, couldn't. And I just kind of like had given up at this stage. And then I saw a post in the January of like this press play and run and it was like all funky colours and stuff. And actually they had a Facebook group with paces. So you had to select the pace group that you were going into. So straight away I was like, well, I know that face and that face are in my group because obviously you can see people's profile pictures. So I was like, I'm going to go to this. I'm going to give it a shot. Literally rocked up and blessed, like Ryan. I know Ryan now, like I've gone so many times, like they are so good. But like that one particular day, like I think there was something on in Glasgow, like, you know, football. Like I don't follow football. Like, something on in Glasgow.
We're not football fans over here.
And I think he was kind of like, we're going to run to a point and then everyone's going to get into their groups and then we'll go. And I was like, right, okay. But because this was my first day, I didn't know what normally happened. So everyone just kind of took off. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, it's the same. I'm like, are we stopping? Are we not? Like, I don't know what's happening. So I ended up like basically because everyone kind of took off together. It wasn't in the pace groups. And I ended up running beside this one girl. And I was like, what is happening? And it's like, oh my God, it's really funny. I don't know if you know this Irish skit where it's like they're running alongside like, what is happening? Alex said,
send it to me after.
Yeah. But she was like, oh no, she's like, I don't know, this is my first week too. And I was like, I'm Marina. I was like, how are you? And she's like, I'm Leanne. And we were like, just dead. I was like, look, this is my comfortable pace. Like, if you want to run on, like, just run on. Like, I'm not going faster. Like, I'm not here for that. And she's like, no, me neither. She's like, I'm really comfortable doing this too. So I think we had like 16K on our plan that day. And it was just an out and back, which was really good. I like an out and back. A lot of people don't like an out and back because they just get dead bored. I like knowing that when you've turned, you're on the home straight. Like you've already ran this, you can run it again, right?
I like the out and back.
Yeah. So she got a really dodgy stomach at like, I want to say like 14K. And obviously I'd never met this woman before. She'd never met me. And she was like, please leave. And I was like, I'm not leaving you. And again, I think because I'd had my friend, Like, under no circumstances in this world would my friend have ever left me. Like, if I was crawling, he would have crawled with me. So I was like, I'm not leaving yet. And she was like, oh my God, please leave. And there was like a rowing club. So I was like, look, can we use your toilet? Like, we're like, is just really quickly, like, we're on a long run. They were like, oh my God, of course, no problem. And she's like, oh no, actually, I think I'm settling now. And she was like, okay, I think it was just nerves too, which again, we can talk about runner's stomach. Like, I've got tips and tricks for that as well, which we can absolutely get to.
100%.
But yeah, we ended up finishing and she was just like, oh my God, I am so grateful that I met you along the way. And I was like, but I felt the same. And she was like, I feel like I held you back. And I was like, no, I was literally dying. Like, I was totally like, we couldn't believe it. Because I hadn't run that distance since the marathon. She had just started her marathon training for London that year. So she was like, literally like novice runner, like running 16K. I was like, you are amazing. Like, oh my God. And then everyone met back at a coffee shop. So like, it didn't matter your pace, but everyone stayed to meet the kind of the slower ones that did come in after. And everyone had coffee and chats. And it was, honestly, it was amazing. And now, like, the group that I run with now is like a club that has now been created off the back of that original club stopping. So like, it's just like a lot of the girls have just got together
and continued.
Going to create our own. So run clubs, I would say, if it's a club that is paced, really look at like who's running the club. Like, there is another one that we have in Glasgow. It's called the Southside Slowies. Love it. Like, they, at the end of every month, they have a social.
That sounds like a bit of me.
If you are not wanting to take part in the social, I'm not sure they entice you to join. Like, you have to want to go bowling or to play bowls or to the pub for dinner, or like, they do random social things. But they do a lot of couch to 5K as well. So I think because they promote the couch to 5K, people know that they are like quite a paced kind of group. That
they know what they're getting into.
Yeah, like, you can walk, or you can, like, it's quite chilled. But like, there's a lot of running clubs in Glasgow that I would love to join, but I'm like, I would just feel so demoralized that I'm just like, no. So
I think that's quite a common thing, though. I think lots of people look at running, and they look at, especially now when we have, again, it's like a trend, and we have high rocks and all these things where running is such a big thing, that people look at it and go, that's quite intimidating. And I don't actually, whereas something before that was like, oh, I'm just going on a little run, has now become quite competitive in itself. Like, everyone's posting their Stravas on their like Instagram stories and stuff. So it's become this whole like subconscious competitive thing that we've never had before, that does take it to a next level of like, oh, actually, maybe it is a little bit off-putting.
Yeah. I used to post my Stravas on Instagram because of my pace.
Really? That's so interesting.
I used to be so embarrassed that I was like, no, I can't put that on Instagram. I'm like, you're joking. And I do it every run now. I'm like, I don't care. And again, it's more so like, if one person can see my story and see that I'm literally dying at 6:40, some days I'm dying at 7. Like, if my recovery's been really bad, like 7:15 literally feels like I'm sprinting. And I'll put that on my story and I'll be real honest about it, you know?
I think that's really important as well, because people, like we were saying earlier, like, they have a time, like, for instance, their 5K time, and they think every time that they're going to do a 5K that it's got to beat that time or be less than that time. And it's always this like self-competitive thing. Whereas you do have some days where maybe like you ate a little bit more the day before, you ate the wrong things, or you weren't as hydrated, or the weather, or whatever these factors are that will affect it. And there's so many of them. To not beat yourself up and be like, well, I'm a minute slower this week than I was last.
No, it's nearly good, because you know that if you actually take the time to be slower, you'll recover better for the next week, as opposed to like constantly trying to beat your time. You're emptying the tank. You're just not going to get any faster. Like, it's just like, doesn't work, you know?
And but on that as well, like I'm someone that has a really high heart rate generally. Yes. And when I'm going on zone 2 runs with people, sometimes I find it really hard that I'm at a pace where I feel like I can talk and I'm comfortable, but my heart rate is like ridiculously high. So would you say, if you were chatting to me as a runner, that I should maybe slow it down, or that I should kind of ignore the heart rate zone and just think more about like if I can speak to someone? Like, how would you look at that?
Yeah. So I had a client like this. So when you said texted me, I was like, oh, straight away. I was like, I had a client who I ran with her on Christmas Day. We did a 10K on Christmas Day, and she was like, Marina, my heart rate's like 190. And I was like, oh my God, we need to slow down. She was chatting away. She was fine. She was like, I feel fine. So really similar to what you've just said. So after Christmas Day, I kind of put her on like a little plan where she did like 2K every now and again, like on her rest days, she just go out and do like a really, really slow 2K. And she actually found that her recovery was better. But another thing with her was she actually just ran more consistently. And her long runs were actually slow, or her easy runs were actually slow, because sometimes her long runs were progressive. So it just depended, like if it was a long run at a conversational, like go enjoy it, fine. But like she texted me one day and she's like, Marina, if I go any slower, I'm going to be walking. Like walkers are going to pass me. And I was like, well, let them pass you. I was like, if you're telling me, like I've had clients as well, like message me to be like, Marina, like I'm going really slow, but like I'm really struggling to catch my breath. You're not going slow enough. Like it's probably the biggest conversation I have with people is slowing down. And I wouldn't say it's easy to slow down. I find it easier to run at a 6:40 pace. Some of my runs because I use Runner at the app. Do you use Runner as well?
Yeah, I use Runner the app as well.
So like sometimes they'll say 7, and I find it sometimes harder to go 7 because you're out longer.
Like sometimes I was going to say as well, I find my heart rate sometimes spikes more if I'm trying to go slower than if I was just running that little bit faster. So it's finding that balance of between, okay, I'm really, really holding back, or I'm really, really pushing forwards.
And I think that's where she found the little 2Ks at like literally running just outside that walking pace really helped her, because she was running more, but her recovery was better. Like her HRV and stuff, like much more balanced. And again, her heart rate just generally kind of got like reduced. But I think she as well, like even on her easy runs, she actually followed the pacing that I gave her. Like, I mean, you'll know this, like the amount of times an app gives you a pace and the amount of times that you will not follow it is probably higher than the times that you'll actually follow it.
But let's jump into that a little bit more, right? So for instance, how would you describe taking away paces? If someone was like to you, okay, go for an easy run, whatever that distance is, how would you physically describe an easy run to someone without giving them a pace?
That you can breathe completely normal and have a full-on conversation. I describe it to my clients as, imagine you phoned me and I'm not the one talking. You're the one talking. Like you're telling me all about your day and you're not like struggling to breathe, talk and run at the same time. Now, the way I did that in the past was when I would run, I would call my mum, because I lived abroad, obviously. So ringing my mum was dead easy. And she'd ring me as I'm like running, and I'm like, oh, I've got a 5K. How long can you stay on for? She's like, I've got 10 minutes. She'd literally be on all 30 minutes or 35 or 40 minutes, whatever it was that day. And like there'd be some times on that run that I would notice like, oh, I'm catching my breath, give me a minute. And I'd actually pull back, slow down, and then be able to continue. Sometimes I would walk to kind of regulate my breathing and then go back into like that run, because if I kept going, I find it, if I slow down, I find it really hard to regulate my heart rate, regulate my breathing. Sometimes I find it easier to just like stop, walk, and then just get back into it. But I knew the runs, like some of the runs I'd have to tell her to hang up because I just wasn't like, no, I can't do it today. Like get off the phone. Do you know what I mean? But then they're the days I knew I had to recognize, Marina, you weren't going at a conversational pace, you were going faster. So you had to get off the phone. But it was really, another trick that I have is put on songs that you like.
Hit me. This is interesting. I was going to say as well, like, do you run with, like, personally, I don't like having things in my ears when I run. And if I do, I like it to be a podcast. I'm not like a music running person, unless it's obviously like if I'm at a Barry's or if I'm doing like intervals, then I'll want some music. But if I'm going on a longer run, I find it easier for me to just listen to what's around me or have a podcast on those occasions. But if things in my ears, it distracts me.
That's so interesting. I mean, at the start, like in 2019, when I was getting back into it, had to have my music. Like the days that I'd run with my friend, I used to really struggle because I was like, all I can hear is my breathing, right? So it was so funny. But what I used to do was I would, like, if I was running with him, like, let's say we were doing a 10K, I would get to 8K and I'd be like, oh, I'm actually struggling a little bit. I'll put in my music now. And like, he'd literally run beside me while I'm like listening to my music. Like, he was so good. But what I used to do was sing the chorus.
This is another thing.
The chorus that came on, I had to sing it. Now, I mean, obviously, lads, I lived in the desert. There was nobody around. I wasn't killing anybody with my singing. But it was genuinely one of those things. I think I started with that, and then it progressed into voice calls with my mum. But I'm somebody, I have to listen to a podcast. Like, if I'm going for a long run, I'll listen to a podcast or nothing. Like, I'll just like the ultra marathon, I didn't listen to anything. It really annoyed me. Like, I actually put podcasts in and it was just really annoying me because I was like, no, because I didn't know, like, I was trying to look at my feet. I was trying to look at like what's ahead of me, like where are my turns. My head was too busy to even listen to a podcast. I was like, no, that needs to come out now as well. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's really interesting. Like, so I just did my first 10K yesterday, everyone. not to brag, but when I was reading, just a little brag. I was proper reading, like, obviously I've never done that kind of event before, so I wanted to know what I was doing. And one of the points that really surprised me is it said you weren't allowed headphones. It was like no earphones, no in-ear even, like, things. Which to me, I was like, oh, I assume everyone runs with music. Like, I've watched like my friends do the marathon, the London Marathon before, and they've always had like their headphones in and had podcasts and playlists and whatnot. So for them to be like, no headphones allowed, for me, I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And actually, I was thinking, is that from a health and safety point of view, because there's so much going on, or is it from like, just like we want everyone to be involved in this atmosphere? I know that's probably not the answer, but
I think it is a safety thing, because if the marshals need to say something to you, but also you can hear people coming up behind you, because like sometimes if I'm like, sometimes you get a bit of a jump. Do you know what I mean? But then that's why Shocks are like the biggest headphone brand now for runners, because I'm not a fan. They're like the overhead ones, but they're the bone conducting ones.
Yes.
So apparently they're not great for podcasts, but I find the vibration really heavy on them. Now, that's on the one that goes behind the head. I think the wireless, like just overhead ones, are much better. I have tried them on, but I just haven't ever gotten around to actually buying them. But they've got other ones now that kind of loop here. So like loop at the bottom.
I was going to say the new like Bose have them, don't they, that loop around, that don't actually go in, and apparently they're really good.
Yeah. So like for you that like likes to kind of hear what's around you, but also listen to a podcast, it's like, it's not as like noise cancelling. And like you can kind of hear, but I think they're more allowed at races than like your AirPods that are like noise cancelling, like don't talk to me. But I think were there people wearing headphones at the race? Yes,
there were a few, that had them in, and to me, it's weird because I've run in run clubs like we were saying before, and by myself and in situations where people are there, but I've never ran in that big of a group of people, not even High Rocks is, like there's never that many people at once. So for me, this is probably my fault for putting myself in the wrong pace group, but I spent a lot of my time like dodging people and kind of like weaving through people, and that obviously it's not their responsibility to move, but you could tell people were like differentiating their paces, which then had like a bit of a knock-on effect rippling back. And the people with headphones in were the people that were like jumping and being like not stumbling but almost tripping, and in my head I was like, that's so it's making me watch you, because I'm like, right, are you gonna trip because you can't hear the people around you?
That's a top tip for a race that I have that I probably shouldn't give, which is probably totally like against all rules of running, but anyway. I did the Berlin half marathon this year, and I put myself in the correct pacing group, and like that I was dodging, and it really bothered me. Now I was late to my wave because of trains and buses and whatever to get us there. And then, there was like a wealth of things that just meant we were late. So we got in at the very back, like there wasn't like 50 people behind us. It was hilarious because we were kind of like, oh my God, this is really good, because now just like let them off. Like your time doesn't start till you cross the start line. But obviously you don't want to cross the start line with absolutely nobody beside you, do you? So you're like, right, let's go. But what I've done for the next one is I've actually put myself in a pace group faster. Like there's no way I can hit that time. Like it wouldn't even be a goal of mine at the minute to get into that time, right? But I know that if I go at the end of that wave, not only am I not in anybody's way, but I'm ahead of those that would be in my wave. So the faster runners that are going to come out of that wave will come out a little bit later, and I will kind of be dispersed at that stage. So if the faster runners are coming from that wave, they'll pass me. Like, it's fine. I'd like to think there'll be no one else around me, but there won't be as many around me as what there is at the starting point for a race. So I would say that, like, and a lot of us do that, like, where we've kind of gone into a pace group ahead of what we are for that reason. But we're not going at the start of that pace group and like everyone has to dodge that one body, right? We're going to it, and then like everyone's gone off, but then you're ahead of that next wave kind of coming up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I was like, well, I was very overwhelmed by this event. So in my head, I last minute went to this because some girl at the gym I go to had a ticket and she couldn't go. So I was like, I'll take it. Turns out, thinking this is just going to be like a little village 10K. There was like 5,000 people there. So for me, that's like, yeah, that's a big group of people for a run. Massive. And I'm like, yeah, I'm panicking, like, right, okay, so this is my normal 10K time, trying to find that group. And it's just so busy and overwhelming that I was just like, do you know what? I'm just gonna have to stand here. And just kind of like stood for a minute, had to like assess the situation, speak to people and be like, right, excuse me, where is this like pacing? Yeah. Who is this timing for? And all this kind of like stuff that you wouldn't even think about until you're in that environment. So I think that is really a really good tip, to be, okay, I'm going to come to the back end of that pace and be like, okay, this is where I'm going to start and filter into my group.
But it can be hard to do in some of those races, because I did the women's 10K in Glasgow this year, and you were put into coloured groups, but the coloured groups were so quick released that we'd caught up to the next group like in seconds. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting.
And like the group behind us had like come up behind as well. So it was like, I mean, it was so big like that. It was so busy. But I think on days like that, you just kind of have to see, it's hard because if you're going for like a time, which I was that day, I was like, get out of my way, right? It was like loads of times I had to weave, but in my head, it was like, Marina, just get on with it. Like, you just have to get over it. But then there were like loads of bottlenecks. Like, for that particular race, it wasn't the day to go for a PB. Like, I got to like 8K and I was like, right, Marina, like, I know I was so bloody close, but I was like, no, it's just, you're killing yourself trying to get out of these, like, to get ahead of people, because it was so busy. So I think you kind of have to assess the day and your expectations, but expectations are always going to be the one thing that lets you down running. Like, whether you're starting out, whether you've never ran a day before in your life, whether you've ran 10 marathons, your expectations are going to change based on how like much you practice and how good you get at it. And like, when I say how good you get at it, in the sense of, I've been running now for like 6-7 years. I'm probably running the same pace as I was then, but my expectations are completely different with distances. So I expect myself to be able to go longer. But now that I'm pulling back on distances, I'm expecting myself to get faster. But like, we'll say, for example, at the minute, I think my PB in a half marathon is like 2:08. So like, ideally, by the end of the super halves next year, I'd like to get it down to 2:05. Taking 3 minutes off running is bloody hard. Also, big tip for people out there, you take 10 seconds off a run, it is impressive. Like, don't be out there taking an hour off your runs. Like,
this is hard. I think what we need to touch on as well, because people go into these, like, if we look at 5K, because from my audience, 5K is like a good chunk of time. If people are doing like 30-minute 5Ks, to then be like, right, next week I want to get that down to a 26 minutes. That is such a big, Marina's shaking her head. This is such a big jump of time. I don't think people realize that that's how significant that is. And like you say, 10 seconds is a massive time.
Yeah. Well, 10 seconds is the difference between me running comfortably at 6:30 a minute to 6:20, which is like, if you're running, like, you really feel that next gear. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think, especially for like your audience, like park runs are so good. I don't know what they're like in Manchester. Like, have you been?
I've only done one park run, and it was in Essex with my mum. So I don't know what they're like here. But they have quite a few around. They're just more in the outskirts.
Oh, okay. Because like Glasgow have them. Funny enough, they don't actually have it in the big park in Glasgow Centre. I'm sure it's for crowds, but like in like all the ends, you've got like loads of them. But it's like there's like park run tourism. You've got like your park run name letter collecting. Like I've got a friend, her name is like super long. Like I think it's like, I want to say Stephanie McCann is her surname. And she's like literally going out and she goes to like all like Pollock Park. So she gets the P, she goes somewhere where she can get the H. Like it is like it makes it more fun, but it's still that 5K distance. Do you know what I mean? And then there's
I think
walkers. So there's always going to be tail walkers. Always.
I think that's amazing. I think park runs are really overlooked as well. I
Yeah.
know now they're more popular, but there was always kind of a bit of a stereotype around park runs. It was for like the older generation of people that wanted to go and do a park run. And seeing now, like I went to it with my mum, like I said, and the age range of people was like insane.
Massive.
There was like people that must have been about 70, and then there were like kids running.
Yeah.
And it was so, I was like, this is amazing that all these people have come together to do this one thing. And everyone's like smiling, like chatting to each other. It was a loop that we did. We did like 2 or 3 loops. And as people were like passing, everyone was like, keep going, like cheering each other on. And I was like, this is so nice. Like you wouldn't get this in any other situation.
No, and especially like we'll say, for example, like I have like 9K this weekend, so I'm going to do a park run sandwich. So you do like 2K, you do your park run, and then 2K after. So you've like proper break it up. But like the marshals and stuff at park run are amazing as well, and like you obviously collect your t-shirts, and there's like loads of incentives to, and it's free. It's free. Like that's like, to me, it's the biggest thing. But again, for anyone who's listening and they're thinking about going to a park run, approach the park run like you would a run club mentality, because some park runs that I've been to, super competitive, like super busy, like the route isn't nice at all, and it just like really shocked me, like, oh, I didn't like that one. Like I felt nearly under pressure to run and get out of the way. Whereas other ones I've gone to, like the one local to me is quite hilly, so I mean I'll do it when I'm feeling super like in shape, and like in the sense of my heart rate is not going to rocket and I can actually just chill. Like today, this is going to be my 5K today. I'm going to I'm just going to do it for fun, because like that, if I do that one under pressure, it's tough, right? But then there's other ones that we do and they're like super flat, but like there's literally one I go to and I want to say there's like less than 100 people that go to it. It's incredible. So like to me, park run is something like, have a look around. Like anyone who's listening to this in your audience will absolutely have a park run that's close to them, and do that whole like run, walk. I've just said that like the W word in the running world. Like I'm like, walk, please. Walk.
This is really interesting, because I've had so many people come to me that are like, oh, I've like done a 5K, but I didn't run it all. Or I've done a 10K and I didn't run it all. And I think this is really interesting coming from you, of being like, you can walk. Like,
walk. Like I've walked in both my marathons and my ultramarathon. Like there's like fluff on across the screen. So like I've walked in them. Like your body will get to a point, like even in the 5K, like your 5K could be like that's your marathon. Like it doesn't matter the distance, but if you're struggling but I would say if you need to walk, the possibility of the reason that you need to walk is because you're going too fast. And I've been there, like where I physically couldn't make it. Like anyone can go out right here today and run 5K. Anyone, without stopping, if they go slow enough. But nobody goes slow enough, so nobody makes the 5K, right? So
I think as well with the slow side of things, you have to be really confident in yourself to go slow. For me personally, as someone that is a fitness professional, like I'm not a professional athlete, but I'm a fitness professional, going out and like running in a public place like Hyde Park, for example. And I'm going really slow. I feel like people are maybe looking at me or going, oh God, he's not a very good runner because he's going so slow. And it's such a big like mentality, and you have to be so confident in yourself to go slow. So I do understand why people are like, I have to run and then walk and run and walk.
Yeah. I think that mentality is so common, Joey. Like it's almost sad, because it's similar to the gym, isn't it? Like you'll have an audience here that like will go to the gym as well, and like that will want to go into the gym because, oh my God, they're looking at me. And like that happened to me last week, where I was like, I literally went into the gym to do my steps. I'd already been to the gym that morning. So I knew I'd been to the gym, but nobody in there knew I'd been to the gym. So I suddenly had this like, oh my God, they all think I'm in to do my steps. And I literally, like a mile a minute, my mind was just like rolling. So I get it. Like I know that people will go to park runs, they'll go like, even just like you did, like along the river, and like people are like, oh God, look at him running. Like he's not like fit enough to be running. But I think running's one of those sports that it's so accessible. Like, you just need a pair of trainers. Like, I know social media, you need the glasses, you need the watch, you need the shorts, you need the trainers, you need everything, right? You literally need a pair of trainers. Like, anyone who's on my program, if they tell me they want to go start running, the first thing I say to them is, show me your trainers. I need a picture. I need a picture.
So on trainers, would you,
Yeah.
so I have done like a gait analysis for my feet because
Okay.
I have overpronation in my feet.
Okay.
What would you say, like, for people shoe wise, gait analysis wise, like what would be your recommendation if I was your client and I was like, okay, here are my running trainers, what would be the things that you look for or asked me around them?
Yeah. So like, I always say to people, try and get a gait analysis. But then it depends where you get it and who gives it to you, right? So like, I've got it done in like 4 or 5 different places, and I've been recommended different shoes in all different places, right? Because look, at the end of the day, shops are going to be doing gait analysis and they're going to be told they have to sell you the trainer. Right? So it's borderline a sales tactic, right? There is a place that I go to where you actually pay for the gait analysis, but you don't have to, like, if you get a set of trainers, you get like 5% or 10% off them. If you don't, no bother. You get to leave. I would say to anybody, because obviously I worked in Decathlon and the trainer aisles were like my specific aisles. Like, I was given those, they're like, Marina, they're like, we don't know what we're looking at. Like, you
Of course.
I would say, like, anyone who came into me, even just like, not even clients, just like anyone of a general public coming in looking for trainers, I would say your feet have to choose the trainer. Like, look, getting trainers for fashion, yes, like runners like our bright trainers. I get it. Like, I have so many trainers that are brightly colored and I don't run in them because my feet hate them, right? So anyone who used to come into the shop, I would say to them, you have to put on like 5 trainers. And they're like, I'm not done it. These are fine. I'm like, no, like, put on the next pair. And they're like, oh, but they're nice. And I'm like, yeah, but the next pair are nicer. Like, I would know which one they're going to buy before they've even tried them on.
So interesting.
And that would come down to the cushioning. Like, I would say to people, right, oh God, this gets really technical. I don't know how technical you want me to get, right? So
no, do it, please. It's so interesting because I go through trainers all the time, and I find, because obviously I do Hyroxes and generic gym training. So running wise, I found that I have to have a really, really different trainer for long distance running compared to a Hyrox.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting to me and people that would listen.
Because Puma do a really good is it the Nitros? For Hyrox?
They have a whole like nitro range, yeah.
Yeah. So the reason they're good for Hyrox is because they have grip for like your sled push and stuff like that. But then they also have the carbon plate for speed on your run. So they're quite like dynamic in that sense, and that they kind of cover a bit of everything. But if you're just a road runner, you don't need the grip of a Puma Nitro, right? Like, you're like, well, that's not necessary. But I also say to people, like, look, social media is all over carbon plates at the minute. Like, carbon plates are great. I find carbon plate trainers good in the sense of they're extra cushioned. I'm not fast enough to get the response off a carbon plate, right? Like, I wear them racing because like on a race day, I'm faster than normal, right? Because the atmosphere, the energy is amazing. On like a long run, if I wear them on a long run, it's actually doing you more damage than it is if you just wore a standard trainer, because your foot isn't working as much as what it should be. The plate is actually giving you that response and energy off the ground. But there are trainers that don't have the carbon plate and are also like well cushioned. Like, at the minute, I would say the Adidas Evo SLs and your Nike, I want to say Vomeros. They're kind of like the two like of the branded ones that are like your everyday. You can wear them on easy runs, long runs, race day, tempo runs, speed runs. Like, they're honestly, I wear the Adidas because, well, I've always worn Adidas. So my feet like Adidas. My feet hate Nike. Like, literally, I put my feet in Nike, just like, no way, And I wouldn't mind. You wouldn't believe the amount of Nike trainers I have bought, and I've just given them to my sister because I like them. They're fashionable. They're pretty, but my feet hate them. So this is what I mean in the sense of try out different brands, but in the store. Buy them, wear them inside, or go to the gym and run on the treadmill, bring them back. Like, I've brought back so many sets of trainers that I'm like, no, they just don't fit right. Brought them home, walked around the house, they don't work, right? But I would say finding a trainer that is a daily trainer is really, really, really hard. Not plugging Decathlon because I don't work there anymore. However, I did.
No, plug away.
Literally, I sent so many of my clients to Decathlon because they have so many ranges of trainers that are designed by runners, like literally, like they've got like a running HQ in Kenya that like runners spent their lives training in these trainers to make them specifically technical to each particular thing. Like it's amazing. The technology in it is really good, and like they're cheap because there's no middleman, right? So, like,
That's so interesting.
people think, oh, Decathlon, like it's too cheap, like we can't get them there. I would wear Decathlon, but I find the toe box quite narrow, so my feet don't like them. So again, I have 3 clients at the minute that their runs are the best runs when they're in the Decathlon trainers, and they wear both Adidas and Nike, and they prefer the Decathlon.
Very interesting. So with trainer wise, like, do you feel like you have to have, again, this comes into the realm of, I guess, like trends and stuff. We all feel like we need to have different shoes for different occasions. Would you say like for long distance and short distance runs, you need to have a different shoe? Or is it more just like you have one generic shoe that kind of overflows for everything?
For someone beginning, like your audience that you're talking about, I would say one shoe for everything. Because look, they're not cheap, Joy. Like they're bloody expensive, right? Like I like literally, I'm like, I need to save up for my next set of trainers.
A little treat.
Yeah. So the Evo SLs that I wear currently in euros, they're 150 euros. They're 130 pounds. Now I know that 130 pounds is not cheap, but compared to other brands and also other trainers, like if you buy, we'll say Asics are really good for, or Asics, depending on how you say it. Like my Irish pirate comes out in me, sorry. So
I say Asics, but I don't know which one's the right way.
Oh, I don't know. So we'll say if you got them, they're really good for like easy runs, but I find them quite heavy. So I wouldn't wear them on a speed run. So what? I'm then going to go out. Yes, okay, so that particular trainer could be 60, 70 pounds. But then if I want a trainer for speed runs that feel better and speedy, I'm then spending another 70, 80 pounds, 90 pounds on a speed trainer. So it's like, I would say if you're kind of hitting that 5, 10K half marathon distance, the Evo SLs are, I mean, the Vomeros, I think, are the like, but again, if you put it into ChatGPT or Google, they'll give you the comparisons of what are those trainers. So like, if I just keep saying the Evo SLs, it will tell you. But right now, from anyone that I know that runs and like reviews trainers, the Evo SLs are coming out on top for everyone. Like everyone is swearing by them across the board. So I am someone that would have an easy run trainer, that would have a tempo trainer, and that would have a race day, and I have 4 different trainers that I would rotate. But again, there's argument for that as well, Joey, because I'm running less distance in all 4. Whereas if I'm running one, I'm getting less time out of it, because that's something that I think a lot of people don't get as well, is that you're getting X amount of distance out of a trainer. So like my race day trainers get, I want to say 400 kilometers, like not a lot. Like if I run.
So how would you know when you think like that trainer's not had enough, but hit its like max?
Yeah. So I know because I get shin splints. Shin splints are the biggest indicator across the board. Lads, if you are getting shin splints, look at your trainers 100%. Like I've just bought my Evo SLs about a month ago, and I didn't bring them from Ireland to Scotland because I was only gone back for like 10 days. Ran in like my really old race shoes the other day. I was like, I could barely walk in it. I was like, okay, they are for the bin. Like I need to get rid of them. But I didn't have them with the Evo SL. So it just shows like but again, if you don't have a set of trainers to compare them to, it's going to be really hard. But I would bet my life, if a client comes to me with shin splints, I'm like, lads, you need to go get new trainers. Like, I'm sorry to break the news to you, but you need new trainers. Do you know what I mean? But I think with Evo SLs, they're so cushioned that they give a nice bounce. So I think for beginner runners, or like people out there, like literally, I think I'm going to wear them for race day at Cardiff in a few weeks. Like, I don't see the point in going out because I'm not racing Cardiff. I'm just running Cardiff. I know there's a difference, but a lot of people might like. I'm going to wear them because it's going to be more of an enjoyable run. So I'm going to wear them instead. And like I'm going to wear them throughout my whole training now in the next few months as well. So yes, they're expensive to the degree of they're 130 pounds, but in the sense of my race day trainers are about 270 pounds. So they're cheap in comparison, but also you're not going to run every day in your race day trainers, again, because of the carbon plate and technology in it. But I think trainers are technical. Like if you're going out and you're new and you don't understand that, like I always say to people, message me. Like message me on Instagram, like if you kind of want any tips on trainers. but also try and find a shop that actually know their stuff. Like if you walk in and you're asking questions and they're kind of like, I'm not sure, just walk out. Walk out.
But it's with anything,
anyone,
isn't it? You get what you pay for, and you want to have a professional opinion on things, because trainers we've moved so far with running trainers out. They are so technical, and there's such a wide range of things that if you are missing something, or like missing the mark by a little bit, you will get shin splints, or you'll hurt your knee, or your IT band will go. And there's all these little things that you wouldn't think about, and they're all coming just from that one shoe that maybe you've just gone, oh, okay, I'll keep it because I've bought it.
Yeah, but I have done that so many times. And this is the technical part that I was on about earlier. So there's like what they call a heel drop. So like I wear a 6 mil heel drop. So that is basically like the heel is 6 millimeters above the toe. So it kind of gradient goes up into the heel. Yeah. So I wear a 6 mil. Now I usually struggle with my knees. So here's now where I'm like, I'm sure they say, I think it's anything above 6 mil. I think the 8 to 10, you find it more hits the joints.
Okay.
No, sorry, it's the other way around. I think the lower mil drop, like 4 mil, I think it hits the joints, but then the higher hits the muscles. So I find that the 6 mil, I know my quads and my calves take quite a lot of the impact from the running. But if you're running like dead flat footed, but again, that's where your gait analysis will come in, because they'll tell you what heel drop and mil suits you to like where you're running. Because if you're landing in the forefront, you want your calves and your quads to take the impact. If you're running flat, your ankle is probably going to take a lot of that. If you're a heel runner, if you're flat, it's more so your knees and hips, I would say. But if you're a heel runner, like straight away your ankles, like you need ankle support straight away because you're just going to roll. Do you know what I mean?
Very interesting.
Yeah, gait analysis.
Gait analysis is the way.
Yeah, and it could save you hundreds. Like it could save you hundreds of euros, pounds. Do you know? So I would, even though I spent money on trainers recommended by somebody on a gait analysis, and they didn't work. Do you know what I mean? So again, I knew by the and it was a specific ASIC store. So again, I would probably recommend people to go to a running store that have a variety of brands, not just one particular brand, because that brand wasn't for me. Like ASICS is fantastic, but for now, what I do, it doesn't work. So now if I go and like, if you go to a running store, like I think the last time I went in, I think I put on like 7 different brands. And actually I didn't like any of them. I was like, no, my feet don't like it. Like, I'm just going to think about it. So also walk out of stores. I actually go to stores without my wallet. Like, and I'm like, phone on airplane mode. I just pretend my cards aren't on my phone, because again, it's quite salesy. Like you walk in for a pair of trainers, they're told to sell you a pair of trainers, but like literally go in and, again, another tip, take a picture of the box. So you get the exact code, the exact size, and I guarantee you'll get them cheaper online. Sports shoes, I think, is really good. Again, like, because they're so expensive, get a deal. Don't pay in the shop. Like,
but I think this is so interesting. Like, it's really important to go into like a generic running shop, not just like Adidas or Nike, because I know... Yeah. Well, for me anyway, I would go, I'm going to go into Nike because it's pretty and it's like an aesthetic shop, and I want the pretty shoes and I want the cool, trendy new running shoes. But like you say, they've got an agenda that fits their newest shoe or their most expensive shoe or whatever it is that you look like you can afford, they're going to push on you. Whereas if you go into a running specific shop, they are going to be a bit more generalized and go, okay, here are 7 different brands and you can try 7 different styles or whatever it is that are actually going to work for you, as opposed to, this is our new fresh out shoe, you must buy this one.
But the thing is, when by going into somewhere like that, they also let you run in the shoes, because if you've just done your gait analysis on a treadmill, they let you on the treadmill to test the trainer. So again, not only will your foot choose it the minute your foot, I swear by, your foot will know the minute you put it into a shoe, but people ignore it all the time. But like, as runners, please don't ignore that. Like, please don't ignore that. But then you get to on the treadmill as well, so it's even better, because you get to, it's not just walking, it's different, isn't it? Like, when you put on a trainer, you want to like run in it, you want to test it out, but the stores let you do that, so it's great.
It's different. Amazing. Well, I want to really quickly, before we wrap things up, go back to something you mentioned right at the beginning. And now I think lots of people, okay, I'm testing your brain now. Yeah, lots of people come into running and they think of it as a fat loss thing. So I speak to clients all the time, or potential clients that are like, I wanted to lose weight, so I started running, or I want to start in the gym, but I'm going to lose weight first, so I'm going to start running first. what would be your opinion or thoughts on that? I think I know what you're going to say already, but just want to...
Oh, I don't know what you think I'm going to say. That's really I find that question really tricky, right? So I find it the most accessible sport, more so than the gym. I mean, if you're like, I know in Ireland, like gyms are a good 70, 80 euros a month, right? So like in the UK, there's a lot more accessibility to gyms, I believe, because they're cheaper, right? Running, you pay £130 and that's you done. Like you could literally run to death in those trainers, right? For fat loss, I think it's really good as a starting point. I think because if you're a beginner, the intensity at which you work out in general is probably zero, right? Like you're like you said, if you're going to lose a little bit of weight before you go to the gym. Also, the gym is like the best place in the world because everyone in that building is doing the same thing, right? Like we say, like with running, everyone who's running is a runner. Like everyone's out doing their thing. I think if you're kind of doing nothing, running is a good starting point and can add a little bit of extra intensity to your life that maybe is that little bit easier to access than others. However, the more you run and the more intensity that you bring to your runs, the hungrier you're going to get. Now, I think anyone who I know that has started at 5Ks has generally built up into 10s, has generally built up into half marathons, potentially longer, right? Because I think everyone has this thing that nobody can run a marathon. Like, oh my God, like you're superhuman if you can run a marathon. It's like, I'm testament to that. Like if I can run a marathon, anyone can run a marathon. Obviously,
you are superhuman, Marina. Let's not be around the bush.
Oh, I mean, I can totally take that title. But I am somebody that actually has gained 8 kilos training for my ultramarathon. And that wasn't on purpose. Like I've really struggled with that. And I think body image wise, I mean, like you said, fitness professional, I have really struggled with that because you're like, well, I should know better, right? But it's running. It depends per person. Because like I have friends that lose a lot of weight in marathon training and like the ultramarathon training have lost a lot of weight. I am literally, my appetite goes through the roof. And I think that's where kind of like the gray line comes with running because people think it's a great thing to go to lose weight. And I've had a lot of clients come on and like literally they have lost a lot of weight. I wouldn't say it's down to the running. I would say it's because they've actually added that extra element of movement to their life, not because it's running. I've also had clients where they've lost a lot of weight. They've continued to build up the distance. They're starving, right? Well, we have to increase the calories because your energy expenditure is so much higher. You're like me, like literally, I could go out for a run. And when I say I would sit in my house after a dinner and it would literally, I would feel like I haven't eaten for weeks. Like that starving is just another level. So like, I think it's quite a tricky one, but I'm for it to start. Like if you're a beginner and you want, like, I mean, I can say that I was 30 kilos heavier when I started in 2019. It was the reason I did it in 2019, like I said. And it, again, I did it in 2019 without looking at my relationship with food. So it didn't happen. It didn't work. In 2020, when COVID hit and I actually looked at my relationship with food and paired it with running, yeah, it worked initially. But again, it wasn't sustainable because again, I was building up my distances. I got hungrier, but then I added strength training in. And again, it just kind of like, for me, it's like a building block. It's not the ultimate block. It's not the end game. Like, oh my God, it's this magic thing that I'm going to start running and lose all this weight. I wouldn't see it as that, but that's the word, a gateway. Because I do find that like a lot of people, muscle wise, you need to strength train. Strength training is the only thing that's going to prevent you from injury or running. Like I'm again testing that. Like if you do not strength train, like a lot of girls who come on my program, they're like, oh, I'm not going to the gym. Like, right, well, you have to do a home workout. Like I'm not giving you a running workout unless you do a home workout for me because you're going to get injured. Like I don't know what you want me to say. Do you know what I mean?
But it's true, and I know people overlook that all the time. That the two do have to come hand in hand. You can't just run because you will injure yourself.
Yeah. And I think as well, you have to be willing to look at your mobility. You have to be looking at your stretching, like warm up before a run. Like it's so funny.
That's a whole nother topic.
I know. This is what I'm saying. Like you asked me somewhere, running, Joy. Like this, I think it's fairly the iceberg on running. Like it is just one of those topics that I think can be so complicated. But again, looking at your audience and looking at who might be listening to this, please simplify it. Like if you go out thinking it's going to be this big complex thing that you need all the kit, you need the trainers, you need the socks, you need the sunglasses, you need the headphones, you're never going to go out. Like, you're never going to go out. If you want to start running, what I would say to somebody is run pole to pole. So like, you know, like actually, I don't know how to do it in Scotland or the UK. Like, it's normal electricity poles, right? Like, run one to one, walk 1 to 1, run.
Like a lamppost.
Yeah, and build it up. So then, like, because I've had clients that have done it like 1 to 1, and then they've gone 2, and then they've gone 3, and they're like, oh my God, like, I can run 4 now, and I can run 5. And like, that's progression in itself. But again, if you aren't willing to go out and run from the first one to the second one,
you're
and
never
you
going to
think
get there.
you should be able to run a 5K, do you know what? That's something as well, that like saying that you should be able, this is something I get all the time. Like, women will say to me, I should be able to run 5K. I'm like, why? Why do you think you should be able to run 5K? Why do you think you should be? So I actually start my clients off on a 3K plan. So it's like a couch to 3K. So the reason, like, anyone listening to this, please remove the 5K from your head. Like, I think 5K has become this big pressurized distance that you have to get, and you have to get it under 30 minutes. The average, I don't know for men, I know your audience like might be more like
no, carry on. Right.
The average time for like a woman for 5K is like 38 minutes. I think it's 38 minutes, 45 seconds, but yet you have to get it under 30 minutes. I'm like, no, like, I'm dying getting it under 30 minutes. And like, I can, if I really push, like I can, but that's after years of running. But I also know of people that like, they've never ran a day in their lives. They go out and do a 5K and they've got under 30 minutes naturally. And I'm like, right, well done for you. But that's not everybody. So I start my clients out in a 3K plan. So they go from couch to 3K. And the reason I do that is 9 times out of 10 of the runs, it's like a 4-week plan, 3 runs a week. I want to say no run goes over 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Interesting.
So that builds their confidence. So at the end of the 4 weeks, it's just 4 weeks, they're able to run 3 kilometers, like really slowly, really chilled, super like.
But they can do it. And this is the thing. It builds, once you can do something, it builds the confidence to then carry you on to be able to do more.
Exactly. Yeah. So then they go on to 5K. Like, I have my own version of couch to 5K, and they go ahead and progress from the 3K to the 5K. Now, the 5K one is an 8-week plan. So I'll say to them, like, the first 4 weeks, the 5K plan are fabulous. Like, you're kind of coming off the 3K, you're going to find it really easy, and then just be warned week 5 is coming. And they're like, oh, right, I'll really enjoy the 4 weeks. But again, they've kind of repeated what they've done for the 3K in the first 4 weeks. So again, they're like super confident. They've achieved half of the 5K plan. They're fine. They feel amazing. And then when it bumps up, they've already got that confidence to attack it. Whereas I find that the Couch to 5K app progresses really quickly. And if you don't have a coach to hold you accountable to it, I've done the Couch to 5K about 10 times. I don't think I've ever finished it because I never had a accountable to it. So I find that as well, that people don't, apps are great. Like, look, we've spoken about Runner. You use Runner, I use Runner. I don't need anybody to be accountable to my running, because if I sign up to a race, it's usually a race that I can't do without the training. So the fear of the race is my accountability. Like, get out and do your run, because you do not want to at the end of it. So like, I find that like a lot of my clients, and I'm sure a lot of yours, that like, if like by using a plan, Joy, we didn't even talk about plans. Like, you have
we
to have
barely scratched the surface, Marina. We could literally go on. Like, I'm looking at my laptop now and I've got 10% battery. So we could literally go on for hours on this topic.
Yeah, so to end it, have a plan. Like, I ran 5Ks. I used to do like 3, 4, 5Ks a week and got nowhere. The minute I started changed up my distances, changed up my speeds, making my easy runs easy. Yeah, here I am. I'm now an ultramarathoner. I can say.
Let everyone know where they can find Marina. Where's the best place? Like Instagram?
Yeah,
YouTube?
Instagram. I would say YouTube, but I don't actually know my YouTube name. So there we go. I've just started a YouTube, so you'll find it on my Instagram what it's called. I forget what it's called. So yeah, at Coach Marina Hardiman. So like, genuinely, like, I don't care who you are, if you have a coach, if you don't have a coach, if you use an app, if you don't use an app, if you've any questions based off trainers or fueling or clothing or anything, just drop me a message. Like, I'll always answer any kind of question.
I'll leave as well in the little description of this podcast. I'll leave Marina's Instagram. I love that, Marinsta. That's your new account. Thank you so much, Marina. That was amazing.
Thank you.